Hey, this is Doris Burke from ESPN. I've been lucky enough to travel the entire United States covering men's and women's college basketball and the NBA. But if you're looking for coverage of high school sports, there's no better place than Cap Sports with Carl Pratt.
Hi there, everybody, and welcome once again to the Video Sports Page. I'm your host and producer, Carl Pratt. Welcome to edition number 1198. Well, this is how we'll fill up the next half hour. The Duxbury girls hockey team won another state championship this past weekend, so we'll spend some time with Friend Weiler and we'll look back at Duxbury's successful season here in the winter of 2014. Over at Silver Lake, well, they've got a terrific softball program, but they've got a new coach this year. He's a very familiar name. His name is Tony Pina, and he'll give us some time behind the microphone. Also, during this week's edition of our program, we'll make a stop at Plymouth North High School, where head coach Dwayne Follett's entering his 20th season directing the Eagles, and once again they are defending Atlantic Coast League champions. We'll also have an opportunity to meet a young tennis player. He's one of the captains. His name is Matt Doherty. Matt will join us on the microphone during our Meet the Athlete segment. Well, let's take this opportunity to run our first interview. Let's begin this week's edition of our program by having our visit with Friend Weiler. Okay, let's begin this week's edition of the Video Sports Page by spending some time with Friend Weiler, the Duxbury girls varsity hockey coach. We visited with him a handful of times already this season. Now it's just a handful of days since last Sunday's state championship as they defeated Arlington Catholic 2-1, and boy, 4 straight state championships.
Yeah, it's been quite a run. The girls were just a special group. They worked hard all year long, and especially the 5 seniors, to win it every year that they were in high school was something tremendous.
That's got to be incredible. I don't know how many people can enjoy that particular tag in any sport.
Not many, but as I said, it's a real special group, and they deserve everything they got.
All right, let's talk about it. You and I visited a handful of times this year. Let me ask you now, it's been several days since that championship. You drive around in your real job during the day or doing something and something crosses your mind. Did this team surprise you?
They did. I knew they had it in them. It was just a question of whether or not we could make it work. But I still have a huge grin on my face, and every time I think about all the wonderful memories from not only this year but the last 4 years has been terrific.
All right, and let's talk about that game. If we back up the clock, obviously I believe it was scoreless after 2 periods.
Yes, and the girls were a little, I would say, tired in between the second and the third, and we said, you've got 15 minutes to reach the ultimate goal, and they re-energized and they pulled it off. 40 seconds in, Jane Dudley scored, and then they were able to, Arlington Catholic was able to come back, and then we scored 10 seconds later to wrap it up.
What's that do to a team if you're Arlington Catholic? You're pumped up, you're in the Garden, you tied up defending champion, even though it was a different division, Duxbury, 1-1. They got to be feeling pretty good. And, wow, you probably said, okay, girls, let's regroup. In your wildest dreams, did you say, hey, 10 seconds later we're going to take over?
Definitely not. But we had a lot of ties this season, so they knew how to play close games, and they just, they went out, they wanted it more. And that's what it came down to, their heart and their desire.
All right, the Duxbury Green Dragons with only 1 loss this year to a familiar opponent, the Falmouth Clippers. But since you faced Falmouth and you lost that game, obviously you regrouped in a big way.
Absolutely. You never really like losses, but I would say that was probably better for us in the long run to, kind of get that out of the way, and then, we took off from there.
Well, I was going to say, a week ago I was at the Garden doing the Duxbury girls basketball team that was undefeated that faced Arlington Catholic. Unfortunately, Duxbury at 24-0 suffers its first loss of the season. So if you're going to have one, you'd rather have it come in the middle of the season.
Without a doubt. As my father always says, you don't have to win them all, just win the last one. And, it was a little bit of payback for the girls basketball team, and I mentioned that to the girls between periods, and they got it, and they pulled it off.
Obviously, you got to be so pleased and proud, but what are you going to remember about this year's group?
A lot of hard work, a lot of smiling faces, just some real girls that put their best effort forward in the toughest games.
Well, we're filming this interview here on a Wednesday afternoon. Duxbury with a bunch of championships, and Tom Holgate's the athletic director. We don't know the exact number. He's only been over there for a handful of years, and you and I shared a statistic that's pretty impressive about Duxbury sports.
Yes, most of the time when the teams make it to the final game, I think 95% of the teams actually go on to win. So it talks a lot about the preparation. I'd also like to say my coaching staff, my support staff, did an excellent job. Keeping the girls pumped and in getting the most out of them.
Well, talk about those guys quickly. Maybe not talk about them, but name them because they're certainly worthy of a mention.
Paul Reisfelder, Dave Tolve and Caitlin Sheehan, my assistant coaches, they just do they make my job a lot easier, and they do a wonderful job, and they're always ready to go.
Well, they were ready to go this past Sunday against Arlington Catholic. 2-1 the final in Division 1. Duxbury moves up a division but gets the same results. Coach, we appreciate your time as you've given it to us all year long, and we'll look forward to seeing that smile on your face next year and that big bullseye once again on the back of the Duxbury uniform.
That's all right. We'll take that bullseye as long as we win the last one.
There you go. All right, I've been joined by Friend Weiler, the very successful girls hockey coach. Duxbury defending state champs coming into this year. They win it again, defeating Arlington Catholic. We have an opportunity now to take this and show you some highlights from this past Sunday's victory. Well, over at Silver Lake, they've got a very successful program in the spring, whether it's boys baseball, two-time defending Patriot League champions, or the girls softball program, where they've had umpteen championships under the direction of Mike Brennan. Well, Mike has since retired and moved on, and his place has been taken by Tony Pina, who has served as a varsity assistant the last 3 years. Earlier today, I had an opportunity to catch up with Tony Pina. Okay, let's continue with this week's edition of our program, and we continue to make stops in our viewing area and check on various programs. We're over here at Silver Lake. We're going to spend some time with a guy that can go under the label of old and new. And when I say old, you've been part of Silver Lake's program for a while, Tony, but you're replacing Mike Brennan, who was such a fixture here for many years.
When you think Silver Lake softball, you have to think Mike Brennan. To be the head coach of a program for over 20 years and to have the success that he did while he was here, those are some pretty big shoes to fill.
Well, let's talk about it. You've eat, sleep, and drink sports your entire life. You and I go way, way, way back, as they like to say. But what's this mean for you to be a head coach of a storied program?
Coming over here to coach in the program 3 years ago as the JV coach, what I learned about Silver Lake softball is there's a lot of people involved, from the youth coaches when these kids are 6, 7, and 8 years old picking up a softball, to the AAU teams they're a part of, to the high school program itself. And to become a part of this program is an honor, is a privilege, and it's going to be a challenge with the amount of talent in this program. As a head coach, I need to bring my A game every day to prepare these girls to compete.
And let's talk, if we can, you got wonderful facilities to here to have a varsity softball game.
Silver Lake, this region, spared no expense at giving our athletes the best possible playing fields to compete on. So we feel very, very lucky. I think Silver Lake's fields are among the best on the South Shore.
And obviously, it's a big plus for you to be a JV coach for 3 years and then slide in as a varsity coach, because the current group of juniors and seniors are well aware of who Tony Pina is.
You know, I've been able to watch these girls grow and mature as softball players, as athletes, as leaders since I've been here. So to see their progression and evolution throughout this game, I feel like I'm ready. I've really watched and learned and studied these girls and their approach to the game over the last 3 years.
All right, so what lies immediately for the Lakers as you prepare for the new season?
You know, Silver Lake softball is always a threat to make the tournament. You know, that is going to be one of our goals, obviously, to continue that run of qualifying for the tournament. I also think Silver Lake softball is one of the better teams in the Patriot League. They've won the league now a number of years in a row, and with the returning players and the experience, the number of JV players that played on undefeated teams. Our freshman team hasn't lost in 3 years. With hard work and commitment to seeing this program continue its success, I think that we can really make some noise in softball in the South Shore.
Well, long before the Patriot League season begins, Tony Pina and the Lakers will test their skills and test their ability to see where they're at early in the season. They've got scrimmages set up for this weekend at that new state-of-the-art surface on the campus of Plymouth North High School. On a side note, I've said it several times over the last few weeks of our program, April 4th will mark the 25th year of the Video Sports Page, and Tony and I met, well, April 4th, 1989. How about somewhere around the spring of 1990? You were a youngster out in Carver coaching, and it was in the blood at a very young age, coaching with Tom Bell and Walter Bennett and Carver Little League.
I was very fortunate at a young age to be given a chance to work with kids. You know, obviously, you know, you get to a point where your playing career ends, but your love of the sport never goes away. So I had an opportunity really young to work with kids, to share my knowledge of the game and my passion for the game. And I started coaching Little League when I was 12, 13 years old, and sports have been a part of my life ever since.
Well, if we back up the clock, neither Tony or I looked any less for wear backing up the clock 25 years. Well, it's fun visiting with you and continuing our relationship in sports, just in a different venue. Not at another level, but a different venue.
You know, the time and place may change, but the story remains the same.
There you go. We appreciate your time. Tony Pina joining us this week on the Video Sports Page.
Hey fans, this is Big Papa, man. I'm trying to stay away from my man Kyle, but he keep on finding me. You are watching Cap Sport.
Okay, during this week's segment of Meet the Athlete, I'm pleased to be joined by senior captain Matt Doherty. He heads up the Plymouth North tennis program on the boys' side, obviously, but they are defending champs from the Atlantic Coast League. And Matt, first things first, coming back as defending champs must be a nice feeling.
It's absolutely a great feeling, yeah. Coming into this year, we have a strong team with a strong chance to bring home the title again.
Let's talk about it. And 2 years ago, you came within a whisker of a championship.
Yeah, we actually came within one game to Falmouth. It was a heartbreaker. But yeah, we knew after that last year that we definitely had a shot at the title, and we were able to take it home.
Let's talk a little bit about you. I've known you since a youngster. You played baseball, you played some basketball, but obviously tennis seems to be your first love.
Yeah, I played all sports growing up, but tennis at the beach club, you know, it really stuck with me. I love the game. I love the speed of the game. I love the strategy of the game. And, yeah, I'd have to say tennis has always been my favorite, yeah.
And let's talk about it, how much time you've put in, not just with high school, but to improve your game, whether it's during the summer or any time during the off season.
Yeah, I mean, I'm only playing tennis now. I stopped playing basketball and baseball to focus on tennis. In the summer, I go to Nike camps at Curry College. About 2 weeks, every 4 weeks I go down there. And during the winter, I play on a men's team at Pine House.
Let's talk, if we can. When did you notice you had this love for this game, or start to feel the extra success that maybe you didn't feel in the other sports?
I think I noticed around 8th grade. Going in my 8th grade year, I knew that it would probably be my last year playing on the PCIS team basketball, and I just knew that if I wanted to be good at this sport, I really had to put 100% effort into it.
Well, you get it done not only on the tennis court, but in the classroom as an honor student. And talk about balancing your time, how important that is.
It's definitely been a struggle, but it's definitely been worth it. my mom's a teacher, so studies come first. My parents have always told me, you can play as much as you want, just get the work done, and really, they've been a huge help with me scheduling my time.
All right, let's talk, if we can, before we talk about next year, how fast your senior year has flown by. And now with a tennis schedule in front of you, it's probably going to zoom by.
Yeah, I mean, we're just living every minute. I realized the other day that this was going to be my last season as an Eagle playing for this team, and it kind of chokes you up a little bit knowing that this is going to be your last year playing on these courts.
All right, the Plymouth North program will be losing Matt Doherty, and he hasn't made a final choice yet, but you've narrowed it down to 2, and that's got to be kind of exciting that you have an opportunity to maybe play at the next level.
It definitely is. It definitely gives you a confidence boost knowing that you worked hard enough that you're able to play at the next level.
All right, let's talk, if we can, about these brand new tennis courts last year playing here at Plymouth North, and different from being down on the Nook Road side to being behind the high school here now. How much different was that in brand new state-of-the-art surfaces?
It definitely is a huge difference. I mean, we played at the Beach Club while they were doing construction on the new school, and at the Beach Club, sand would come over on the courts. I mean, it was a mess, cracks on the court and everything. These courts are unbelievable. I mean, I felt like I was going to break my leg on the other courts many times, but this time I feel more comfortable on these courts than I've ever felt.
Well, if you look at baseball players, they got to have a certain bat. They've got to have a certain feel. They've got to have their batting gloves. How about as far as tennis is concerned, the way technology has changed since you first started? There's special rackets that you want. You don't just say to mom and dad, let's run to Dick's and pick up one because it's on sale.
No, it's like any sport. You get a feeling, hockey stick, any sport, you find that great feel that with that stick, and it was really with the Babolat racket that with the new advances it has, that it was lighter, stronger, and I just felt great fit with it.
What's been the biggest wake-up call for you as you've gone to these Nike camps, or you've improved, have you played against other people? Is it basically the speed of the game, the spin of the ball coming off other people's rackets? I mean, what is it if I went out there and you said, first time you're going to be opposite this guy, look out?
I mean, I always look at the point and it's like, wow, I got more to learn. I mean, there's guys that hit shots that I have no idea why they're hitting, so I notice they hit that shot to set up for a shot three strokes down. I mean, I think it's just the strategy of the game that's really always developing.
Let's talk, if we can, about this brand new, and I keep using this word over and over, but it certainly fits, state-of-the-art high school. I mean, it probably doesn't have that neighborhood-type feel like Plymouth Carver had or Plymouth North had, but, I mean, obviously every resource you could possibly want as a student-athlete is here. Absolutely.
I mean, it doesn't have the same feeling as when I started as a freshman. You kind of had that feeling because that school's been around forever, but this school's starting to get a true feeling for it. It's incredible to... It almost feels like you're in a college. I mean, you go to some of these colleges that you go visit, you're like, this isn't even as nice as my high school. So it's nice to have all the resources you need.
All right. During our Meet the Athlete segment tonight, I'm visiting with Matt Doherty. He's one of the captains for the Plymouth North varsity tennis team, defending Atlantic Coast League champs. Before I let you sneak away, how about a teacher or two that's really had an influence on you and made a difference for you before you go through those doors for a final time?
Honestly, Coach Dugan, my high school coach, he's obviously one of the main guys that has helped me through the years. Also, not really a coach, my dad. My dad has always been there for me, driving me to tournaments, driving me to, camps and everything. I'd have to say he was my number one coach, always helping me out.
Well, listen, we appreciate spending some time with you. We've watched you grow up. You're a confident young man. It's been fun to visit with you, and good luck down the road.
Thank you.
All right, Matt Doherty has joined us this week on the Video Sports page as we have another one of those Meet the Athlete segments. Well, we just gave you some quick highlights of the Plymouth North varsity workout here on this brand new state-of-the-art surface. This isn't brand new. This is head coach Dwayne Follett, already a 20th year. Where's the time gone?
I know, huh, Kyle? Getting old.
Well, you talk about 20 years, but there's been an awful lot of success, so that's made that time fly by.
Yeah, it really has. It's been a great run. I've loved every minute of it, and honestly, it keeps getting better.
Let's talk, if we can, once again this year. You come back with loads of talent. Pitching obviously is key.
Yeah, we do have a great pitching staff returning. All our innings from last year are back, and we got some quality. We got, starts with Brian Christian going D1 at Northeastern, and he was 9-1 last year. And Kenny Drew's going to have a big year for us this year, and Joey Walsh and Kyle Mann. We got some studs, and we got good arms behind them with Nate Freitas, and Busquets look good. And we got a lot coming up. So the arms are there. We got to replace. People don't realize we only have one returning starter in the field. So we got some work to do, but we got tons of athletes in this program, and I'm really excited.
Well, if we backed up the clock last year and the year before, you had a young man named Moscas who could go and get it. And boy, I'm sure you'd like to have his speed, considering you're on a state-of-the-art AstroTurf surface.
Oh yeah, he's the one thing you can't replace. You can't replace speed. You can't coach speed. You can't coach height in basketball. You can't coach speed in most sports. And he's going to be really tough to replace. 40 stolen bases without getting caught. Stolen in the last game of the year, home plate to give us the lead. I mean, he was amazing. But we've got some kids that can run, and we're going to work at it.
Let me ask you, do you change your mindset? I mean, you were a football coach for many years, then the head coach for a year, and you had a situation where you say, well, maybe Dwayne's going to be a running football team. Maybe he's going to be a passing football team. Now with a turf like this, do you think you're going to change a little bit because the ball can skip and run?
That's a good point, but we've really evolved into, with these new bats, Kyle, the home runs don't really come as much with the BB Core bats. So, as you know, we were really a lot of small ball last year, so I don't think that's going to change. I tell you what we are going to do with all this open space out there. We're going to really work on hitting this year. We've got to get better hitting the baseball, because I think we're going to do a great job pitching. So I think if we can produce some runs, we're going to have a quality season.
Well, I tell you, we go down to Plymouth South. We talked to your good friend Mark Ranger, who there's only 13 wrestling spots, and he gets 60 or 70 kids out. You don't like to turn away kids if they're seniors. You tell them you might not play a lot, but if you want to be part of something special, come out and join us. And I know you got everybody here today, but still, there's a lot of kids interested in baseball.
Oh yeah, we've got probably about 85 kids trying out, and we'll try to get everyone in the uniform. We may have to cut a few, but it's a good. I like it because I think they can get a lot out of it, just being a member of the team. And it happens every year. And again, this year we got 15 seniors coming back. So as you said, they're not all going to play, but I'm going to tell you what, they're all going to get a lot of respect from the head coach.
All right, before I let you sneak away, what lies ahead immediately? This is only game 2. You're dressed for the winter to do some snow shoveling, but you kids got kids out there playing like it's midsummer.
Yeah, I'm sure we're one of the only teams in the state that's been outside for the first 2 days. So that's awesome. We're a little ahead of the curve, but we got a lot of scrimmages against quality teams. We got BCI coming in, Zavarian. We just have some quality opponents coming in. BB&N, who you know of, from the private school sector. So, we're going to get ready for a long, tough season. We got a great schedule, and we're going to have to play well. And we got a little bit of a new goal this year. We want to win the Super 8 title.
There you go. All right, it's nice to have goals, lofty goals, and high expectations, and you never stop trying till the final out here in 2014. One last note, you got lights here, which is a little different. It'll bring a different aspect to Plymouth North baseball. Would you want to be facing Brian Christian 90-plus miles an hour as a young, untried sophomore from another team with lights?
I hear you. It's going to make that 88-90 look like 95 for sure. But, we're excited. Whoever we put on the mound, we'll have a quality kid that can throw strikes, and I can't wait to get going.
Well, we appreciate your time. We'll let you get back with the kids. Good luck this I was going to say this winter because it feels like winter. Good luck this spring.
Thanks, Kyle. Always a pleasure. I'm glad you're feeling better. You look great.
Well, we appreciate the kind words. Dwayne Follett now in his 20th season. And guess what? April 4th will be our 25th season. So we followed him through all the growth spurts and certainly through all the success. We'll continue with more, so stay with us. Well, that'll take care of this week's edition of our program. I've been your host, Carl Pratt. Health and wisdom from the Video Sports Page.